Hi everyone, it's Graham again and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by
Duncan, your husband,
and we are going to be chatting about
a book.
The Murder of Roger Ackroyd by Agatha Christie. Now we have both read this book, but we both have slightly different experiences of it, don't we?
We do, yeah.
This will be a spoilery review chat, won't it? Because
Yes.
we're kind of giving away the plot. If you've read this book, then you know the plot device that we're talking about. I went in not knowing what the plot twist was. You went in aware, didn't you?
Yeah, I'd seen the Poirot and the programmes on the telly, so I was aware of the twists and turns.
Yeah.
But it's much better in the book.
Yes. So plot twist is that the narrator of the novel all the way through turns out to be the murderer. And when the book was first published in 1926, that was Agatha Christie completely turning the murder mystery genre completely on its head, because that had never been done before, to my knowledge anyway.
No, they didn't like it. A lot of the people wrote angry letters to the newspapers.
Yeah. But it was generally well received, the book, when it was published.
It's a masterpiece.
It is, and it's frequently described as Agatha Christie's masterpiece, her best novel. I think in 2013 it was voted one of the best crime novels ever. I've got what it was voted by on my iPad, so we'll get that. Right, so in 2013, the British Crime Writers Association voted it the best crime novel ever. It is one of Christie's best known and most controversial works, its innovative twist ending having a significant impact on the genre. And yeah, absolutely. So I read this first about 10 years ago, so it's not too fresh in my mind. I know that the murder, it happens in a big house, and it's the man of the house is murdered. I think he is stabbed, isn't he?
Yes.
Yep. And it's a classic locked room mystery. But what you want to say?
Well, a lot of the criticisms of Agatha Christie is that she keeps all the clues to herself, and no one's really got a chance of knowing who the murderer is until the big reveal at the end. Well, this device that she used completely turns that argument on the head, and especially if you read it for the second time, because if even the murderer doesn't know he's done it, then Poirot's a pretty clever guy for working it out.
Yeah.
Of course, the murderer does know that he does it. He just didn't realise that Poirot was so close and hot on the trail.
Yeah.
And it reinforces her way of writing, and is a fantastic book, and it's as entertaining to read it the second time as it is the first. And like a lot of these things in films that have a twisty ending.
Well, I think that obviously because I went into it not knowing what the twist was, I knew that there was a twist because I'd heard that it was one of the most twisty novels that she'd written, or one of the more twisty novels. But I didn't know, you did. I think that if I read it again, I'd pick up on things that I didn't necessarily notice the first time round, because Agatha Christie writes like that, like you say.
Yes. You'll pick up on a few of the clues going through, but the clues don't necessarily let you know who did it. Yeah. It's only the magnificence of Poirot and his grey cells that join the dots. Yeah.
And so the story starts with Roger Ackroyd has been murdered in his home, locked room mystery, and Poirot is retired from being a personal private investigator, detective, Manny that he is, clever, world famous detective, and he is in what's the village called? King's Abbot.
I think so.
And he is retired, and he's growing
courgettes
or marrows,
which he throws mostly over the fence because they're not quite right.
Yeah. And he is drafted in because he's a friend of Roger Ackroyd, the man who's been murdered, and the doctor kind of becomes almost his Dr. Watson to his Sherlock Holmes.
In fact, Hastings is off to Argentina doing daft things in Argentina.
So Hastings isn't in this novel. I don't think Hastings is in a lot of the Agatha Christie novels. A lot of the Poirot's rather. I think there's a fair few that he's not in.
How does Poirot manage?
There's always someone. But I've completely lost my train of thought now. Yeah, so Poirot is the Sherlock Holmes, and Dr. Shepherd is the Dr. Watson. It's a device that's been used countless times and will probably continue to be used in crime fiction for generations to come. But what you don't know if you're reading it for the first time, well, you're watching this video, so you know the twist now. Sorry, you don't know. You don't know that obviously the Doctor is the murderer, and he is sort of writing this down. It's like in his diary, is almost.
Yeah, he's a bit of a big head, and he plans to write all this down and then write a book afterwards to show how he outwitted the magnificent Poirot. That's the reason for him writing the story in such detail.
Yeah, but apparently, if you read it multiple times, you can kind of pick up on where this Doctor character, Dr. Shepherd, is omitting certain things, and he's sort of twisting it to suit his narrative. It's a long time since I've read it.
Yeah, he writes the journal, which Poirot reads in the end, so that Poirot can maybe pick up on anything that he's missed. That's what Poirot tells him. But he omits, as it doesn't get omitted in the book, in the story that Agatha Christie wrote, but it does get omitted in his rendition of it. No doubt with the intention of writing a little letter at the end when he's dead to show what a clever bloke he is.
But Poirot, he didn't count upon Poirot being the clever, immensely intelligent and observant detective that he is, and he solves it. Now I forget how, because like I say, it's about 10 years ago that I read this for the first time, embarrassingly, and I do need to read this again. So 2021, we should buddy read it. Okay. You read it again, and I'll read it again. Maybe later on in the year.
Yeah, give it a month, I've forgotten about it.
So, what was I saying? Yes, so in Poirot or Agatha Christie novels in general, it doesn't need to be Poirot, there's always 9 times out of 10 at the end where the mystery has been solved and they all gather together, and I forget how that happens in this book. Do you remember, or have you forgotten that?
No. Poirot asks all the interested parties to come along for a little chinwag, and he says, in this room is the murderer, and he goes on and he tells a lot of the details, and everyone leaves shocked, and then he has a conversation with the Doctor, and the Doctor still professing his not doing it, not that Poirot accuses him, and Poirot says, I want to read the notes that you've made so that I can get all the facts together. And then he reads it, and the Doctor comes back in a little bit later on and still not admitting to it, and Poirot says, well, this is how you did it, and all the rest of it. And Poirot says, well, perhaps you should take some poison and relieve the agony that this court case would cause to the people that you love. And that's the way it ends. The Doctor writes another little letter that you read, or his thoughts down, and then he must take the poison and exit stage right.
Well, I had forgotten that, genuinely, and I'm embarrassed to say that. As an Agatha Christie fan, this being one of her most famous and described as her masterpiece, I feel that reading it once is not enough, so I really should read it again. So that's a date. 2021, in a few months, we will read this together.
Okay. Didn't take me long, just took me a couple of days to read it.
Yeah.
Lockdown helped with that.
Yes. So that's our review of The Murder of Roger Ackroyd. I don't suppose you could really call it a review. It's more of like a discussion, a chat, really. It's not really a review, is it? Is it?
Oh, we should go into more details to review it.
We have given away the plot, so sorry.
Best possible case.
So, how would you describe Agatha Christie's books? Would you describe them as cosy mysteries?
I kind of would,
Yeah.
because the reader's never threatened.
Mm.
Some of the books that you read, you're emotionally invested in it, and they connect with you.
Yeah.
This is a totally different world of privilege and good living, but still human nature, which everyone can identify with. So I think it's enough divorced from my life for me not to feel invested in it, but absolutely fascinated into what these people get up to. I think it's the nosy neighbour syndrome she clicks into.
Absolutely. And I think there's always, like you say about privilege, it's always about money, it's always about honour, one-upmanship, getting the better of people, whether that be murdering them or
I don't think
framing
there's
them.
any one of those characters I'd like to spend any time with, and that includes Poirot. Miss Marple, perhaps you dare say she'd make a nice cup of tea and a bit of cake, but there's none of these people that you identify with or buy into.
The person I would like to spend time with would be Agatha Christie.
Oh,
absolutely.
Just such an intelligent woman. In
Incredible
fact, that's
woman.
why I think she wrote this book the way she did, to cut down on all the criticism of saying, well, you're never going to get the clues because you don't reveal them to the last minute. Well, all the clues were there.
Do you reckon that was maybe slightly because 9 times out of 10 it was men in these newspapers that were reviewing her writing, and she was a woman, and it was in an era where women were supposed to be at home making tea, cleaning the house, ironing the shirts. Do you think there was a bit of that?
You've got your feminist t-shirt on today.
I think there was a bit of that, definitely.
I'm not sure, because Oscar Wilde came into a hell of a lot of criticism, and then he wasn't a woman.
But he was gay.
But yeah, that wasn't as well known in those days.
It was illegal.
But most writers, or most people that want to sell their newspapers will be fairly bitchy to achieve that. So I don't think it's because she was a woman. I think it's just because they felt that this is a way that we can get at her. This is the way that we can make ourselves feel slightly better for not picking up on the clues by attacking her. And there was certainly some of that going around.
Yeah.
And with her writing that book, she can then say, well, look, all the clues are there. Even the murderer didn't know he'd done it.
Until Poirot told him that he had.
Until Poirot told him. He thought he was going to get away with it.
So you would describe Agatha Christie's books as cosy mysteries?
I think they are cosy mysteries.
I
yes.
would also describe them as cosy mysteries, but they're cosy mysteries with occasional shards of ice cold iceberg in there, thrown in.
A shard of iceberg.
A shard of iceberg.
Oh.
If you know what I mean, if you know Agatha Christie, you'll know what I mean.
Yes.
They are cosy mysteries, but every once in a while she'll throw something in there that's just like this, like the ending of this. That to me was a shard of ice cold iceberg, because I didn't see it coming. You didn't have that experience because you did know.
I knew the end, but I didn't know.
You didn't know how the ABC of it, how it got there. But yeah, that's our little chat, and thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, I hope you have so much fun doing it. Whatever you're reading, I hope you love it. Stay fabulous, be amazing, be yourself, stay safe, and we will see you again soon for another video.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hi everyone, it's Graham again, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm joined by
Duncan, your husband.
and we are... What were you going to say? You were going to say something.
No, I was...
Got to start again.
I was just going to take the ring off and remind you.
Hi everyone, it's Graham again, and welcome back to my channel.